Hey everybody, I'm Brandon Malinowski, and today I'm going to be talking to you guys about and demonstrating how to drive a manual vehicle. So in America, I'm sure all of you know that most of the vehicles are automatic transmission instead of manual. It's kind of a thing that's dying out, but there are still manuals out there. Like this Jeep that I own is a manual, and also a lot of the vehicles in other countries, like in Europe and Asia, are manual. It's like 80% of them are manual instead of automatic. So if you do a lot of traveling, it's good to know how to drive a manual, just in case you get a rental car that's a manual over in a different country. You obviously want to know how to drive it, right? So I think it's still a good, a valuable skill set to know. So today what we're going to be covering is the key components of a manual as opposed to an automatic transmission vehicle. And then I'm going to be talking to you and showing you how to drive the manual and how to safely operate it as well. So to cover the key components, the two big ones that you need to know are the clutch and the actual shifter. So a manual vehicle is going to have a clutch pedal. It's going to have 3 pedals on the floor, and then the clutch pedal is going to be the farthest left pedal, and you're going to be using your left foot to engage or disengage the clutch. What the clutch basically does is it engages or disengages the engine from the drivetrain. And an important thing to know with the clutch is every clutch has a sweet spot. What we call the sweet spot is the position of that clutch of when the engine starts to engage the drivetrain. So you'll know that sweet spot when, if you let off the clutch of a manual vehicle and it's running, it'll start to either roll forward or lurch forward or backwards, depending if you're in drive or a gear or reverse. Pretty much just like a automatic. When you put it in drive or reverse, it's going to start to roll forward or backward, right? So that's the sweet spot of a clutch. Next thing we want to cover is the actual shifter, which will be in the center here, just forward of the center console. Every shifter will have a shift pattern according to what transmission it has, how many gears it has. Like this is a 5-speed transmission, so I have five forward gears and then reverse. And some vehicles will have 6 gears or even up to 8 or whatever, but this one has 5 gears, and the shift pattern on top will be printed on top if it's a factory shift knob. But some of the aftermarket ones don't have it on there, so you just need to know the shift pattern, I guess. But it'll have the shift pattern on top, and that tells you which position the shifter needs to be in what gear. All right, so that basically covers the 2 key components of a manual, which are the clutch and shifter. So now going into actually driving. So starting off, if the vehicle is off and you're at a complete stop, what you want to do to start the vehicle, most vehicles that are manual have a safety mechanism where you cannot start the vehicle without disengaging the clutch first. So to start a manual, you want to disengage the clutch, so push the clutch all the way in, and then make sure your shifter is in neutral, and then just start the vehicle just like normal. Once the vehicle started, you can let go of the clutch, and then as long as your emergency brake is set, your emergency brake is on, you're not going to go anywhere. So now that the vehicle is started, you're ready to start driving or going in reverse. What you need to do is again, disengage the clutch, and then let go of your emergency brake, disengage the clutch, press your brake pedal as well, and then disengage the emergency brake. And then you want to either, if you're going to go forward, you're going to disengage the clutch first, and then shift into first gear. And then from here, this is arguably the hardest part of driving a manual, is figuring out how to not pop the clutch and pop forward or stall the vehicle. So I'm in first gear now, the vehicle is in gear. I'm going to slowly let off the clutch until I hit that sweet spot, and you'll know you hit that sweet spot when it starts to lurch forward, and you'll also see your RPMs on your dash start to dip. They'll start to drop a little bit. So that's when you know you hit the sweet spot. Once you hit the sweet spot, you're going to start to press the gas. So slowly start to press the gas while slowly letting off the clutch even more, and you'll start to go even faster forward until you completely let off the clutch and you're just on the gas, just driving like a normal vehicle. All right, and it's the same thing for reverse. Just one thing to note with reverse is manuals have a pretty hard pull in reverse, a lot harder than automatic, so you don't really need to use the gas at all unless you're trying to go like super fast or something. And it'll pull you back fast enough just using the clutch's sweet spot instead of using the gas. So now you're driving and you want to shift gears. So I'm in first gear and I'm driving. When I want to shift gears, I'm going to disengage the clutch and then I'm going to go straight from first gear to second gear. And then same thing, I'm going to slowly let off the clutch while I get back on the gas. And it's the same thing for every other gear. And you're going to keep shifting through gears until you get to a gear that is good for your cruising speed, whichever speed that you're going. All right, so now you're just cruising along, and then say you need to turn. So on most vehicles, you're going to turn in second gear. So what you want to do to slow down is disengage the clutch, push the vehicle out of gear, shift it out of gear into neutral, and then let off the clutch, and then start to hit your brake. And then you'll eventually slow down enough, and then once you're ready to turn, once you're ready to hit the turn, disengage your clutch again, and then shift into second gear, and then go through the turn while letting off the clutch and getting back on the gas, and then getting back up to whatever speed you're going. So that basically covers slowing down. A lot of people, when they're slowing down, some people like to downshift through all the gears or whatever, but I don't like to do that because I don't want to downshift through every gear every time I need to turn. It does save your brakes a little bit, but whatever. I'll change out brakes. All right, so now say you're done driving and you're ready to stop and turn the vehicle off. So to cover that, it's just like slowing down. You're going to you're in gear cruising and you need to stop at a stoplight or whatever. So I'm going to start to slow down, hit the brake. I'm going to disengage the clutch and I'm going to shift out of gear and make sure I'm in neutral. You'll always know the vehicle is in neutral when you can move the shifter side to side. The shifter won't go side to side in any gear on the vehicle, so you'll know you're neutral if you can just wiggle it side to side like that. And then you can let off the clutch and eventually stop while pushing in your brake pedal even more. And then while you're at a stop, like say you're at a stoplight or something, make sure you're not riding your clutch. And what I mean by riding the clutch is sitting there in gear with the clutch disengaged so that I don't go anywhere. That's called riding the clutch, and it puts a lot of wear and tear on your clutch unnecessarily. So if you're at a stoplight or whatever and you're waiting to go, just make sure you shift into neutral and then let off the clutch and just sit there while you're on your brake. And then so you're ready to turn off the vehicle. You come to a complete stop. Make sure you are in neutral and then set your emergency brake. And then after that, one additional safety mechanism you want to do is to put the vehicle in any gear, like first or whatever. I'll just put it in first gear. Even like if the vehicle is off, I turned it off already, I put it in gear again. That's just an additional safety mechanism. Just in case your e-brake, your emergency brake does fail for some reason, the vehicle won't go anywhere. If it's out of neutral and it's in gear, it won't roll anywhere, just in case that e-brake fails. That's just a little safety tip there. So basically today we covered the key components of a manual vehicle as opposed to an automatic, and then we covered the basics of driving a manual and also how to safely drive a manual as well. That's about it. Thank you for listening.